Hey, what up, everybody? Pop Pals United coming to you today. Kind of excited to get things going with this epic American road trip thing, part one. Um, so I thought I might kick things off by going through some of the camping gear that we've amassed for the trip down there and on the way back. As I stated in my kind of intro video, we'll be camping down on our way to Disneyland for 2 days, and then we'll be at Disney for a few days and 3 days back of camping. So I've been kind of going through, I guess, my mental preparations and whatnot, getting ready, and I thought maybe I'd just kind of share that with you. Kind of some of the stuff I have to be ready myself. But first off, I would like to say thank you to people who've been watching the channel and supporting me. And don't worry, I will get back to doing pop content. I'm just very excited about this trip and want to get things going with that. And thank you for watching. And please remember, if you're new, to like and subscribe. It helps my channel grow, and the more I grow, the more I can do. I'm hoping to at some point get to where I can live stream, so maybe if things evolve enough over the summer, I can hit up some of the national and state parks with the kiddos and do some camping content out in the woods. So remember to like and subscribe. The more you like and subscribe, the more I can do. So let's go ahead and I guess get started with kind of some of the gear that I'm going to have to be bringing along. Some of it I may not even use. But a lot of the times it's better to have things you don't need than not have them when you need them, right? So some of the basic things, like this. Everybody needs a nice camping stove while you're out and about on the run. And also some of the fuel containers here, so you can cook all the meals and things while you're out and about. Now with us, there's a few other things. You need your tin foil, your plates, your spoons, your knives, things like that, utensils. I try not to really use plastic spoons and knives and forks and paper plates and things like that if I can get away with it. I try to be as minimalistic as possible. Like, for example, like doing Frito pie and things like that, where you can use just the bag as your plate. I try to plan meals around things like that so it's easily disposable. Because some of the places you go, like up the Oregon coast, I know there's bears in some places, but I know when you get into Northern California, and then we're going to be in spring, in early April, we'll have bears coming out of hibernation in Northern California. And I would rather not have a food issue in the campground, so we're going to keep a tight lid on that, and hopefully we really don't have to bust out the utensils and things like that and can keep it just kind of simple. Speaking of bears, and I know it's probably not a big deal, and I did not buy bear mace because I've got kids in the camp and I can't be firing bear mace off if something comes around, because, well, that would just lead to a complete just crazy show. Anyhow, I picked up this little guy. It's a tiny air horn. So, I mean, I know it's not going to hurt the bear, but I do know you can scare bears. If you get them, you catch them off guard. So, maybe that'd just be enough to make the thing run off into the woods without causing a scene. Hopefully we don't come to that. Don't want to run into any bears at all, but it can happen. It's the woods. Next, I've got in my bin back here, I'm not going to pull them out, I've got a few air mattresses. I've got 2 queens, a full, and 2 twins that will be taken with us. Most of it is just as backup because it's a long time out. When you have kids, man, they can easily punch holes in things, which is also why you got to have the repair kit. I'm hoping not to even have to bust this out. This is like the bear stuff. Better to have it and not need it kind of situation. But I've got it, so. And kind of some more utilitarian things that I have that I'm going to be bringing with me to use is, of course, bungees. Everybody knows you need some bungees when you camp. Now I picked up 4 of these guys too. They're the 6 foot by 8 foot tarps. I've got 4 of those. Should we hit some rainy weather? A couple of them for underneath our tent when we're out there. Yeah, tarps, always wonderful. Especially with the Oregon coast, man. You never know if it's going to rain or not. Zip ties. Could be useful for a plethora of things when you're out and about, so good to have those. Here's my other tarps. So I do have those, which are great, and some more bungees, of course. Got 2 more boxes of those. Some of the medical kit stuff that I've kind of picked up. Of course, I picked up one of these tiny medical kits. I mean, I don't really have one put together at the house right now, so I figured I'd just kind of grab one, and it has like a whole rundown of stuff on the back. Once again, this is a bear type of patch situation. This is the thing you don't want to go to, but got it if we need it. And I have a daughter who also gets motion sick, so Dramamine pills, gotta have those. And of course this, with all of the insects coming out for spring. Afterbite, stuff's great. And to avoid even being bitten. Now, I don't know when you were young if you ever had a parent who sprayed you down with bug spray and it always ended up in your mouth. Didn't matter what you did, you always got bug spray in your mouth. Well, I've got 3 girls, and I don't want to get bug spray in their mouth because I would never hear the end of it, and they would be mad at me probably for the whole trip. So I found these at Walmart. They are the 30% DEET repel wipes. A lot easier to deal with than spraying a kid down and getting them all in the face and stuff. So if you're going out in the woods and you got some kids, look for these. I got 2 packs of those, so hopefully that'll last us. Now, Oregon can be somewhat windy too, and I bought a tent, and it has stakes, but when you buy tents, you know those measly little piddly stakes, like they're that big. I mean, they're not stakes. I went out and got some of these guys from Walmart. They're $1 a piece. And when you got a windy situation, I would rather have something like this slammed into the ground than that tiny little meager piece of metal. And of course, always got to have your little hammer to bang those guys down there. And let's see. Oh, these guys. Man, I kind of skipped over these for the food kind of stuff. Giant freeze packs. I've got 4 of these guys, and of course I've got a cooler. I don't have that out here, but beverages, snacks. Like, we're gonna try to do more of a healthy option kind of thing, hopefully, where it's a lot of like crackers, fruit, things like that while we're on the road. I don't want to jack the kids up on sugar and then have them in the car for 8 hours. That would not be. No. So, keeping some things cold, getting these guys in there, keeping some stuff cold, some apples, some drinks, some water. Got to keep the water cold. Yeah, freeze packs. Oh, also, I am not insulin dependent or diabetic, but my mother-in-law who's going to be coming with us. So if you're insulin dependent and you have to keep your stuff cold, this will help us out on the way down for her. So she's going to be coming with us too, which is awesome. She always wanted to take her daughter when her daughter was younger, my wife, and didn't get the opportunity. So it's going to be cool to kind of have that happen, and I'll have it here on video. So yeah, getting off track here. So going back on track, when you are out and about in the wilderness, lanterns, flashlights. This one doesn't go flashlight. This one does. Lanterns, though. At night, these are your best friends when you go on a bathroom break. Of course. Now, this one's something that I've seen people, like, my wife will end up probably sleeping in the van, probably with our youngest, and my mother-in-law. But me and the older girls will probably end up sleeping in the tent. So these are nice because you can adhere them to the inside of the. We'll have our van, so the inside of the windows, and hang up privacy curtains, little fasteners. So that's a nice little thing right there if you want a little more privacy in the morning, keep the sun out and whatnot. And yes, we do know we're cautious about carbon monoxide and whatnot, and I do believe we have a carbon monoxide detector and everything, so keep the windows cracked. We'll be good. We're going to be safe. And so keep it on track. Flushable wipes. Got to have those. Got to keep the bum happy. So we have the air mattresses too. So I have 3 pumps actually for the air mattresses. I think in Oregon, 1 or 2 of the campgrounds we're staying at have electricity, so the plug-in one will be great for that. I have a car adapter one for a bit of the more primitive campsite, and I believe Golden Bluff, the one we're staying at in California, is a bit more primitive, so we'll probably end up going to that. And failing all of that, I like this little guy, but we probably won't end up using it. It's the little battery-powered one. I mean, options, you gotta have those. And one thing I absolutely like to have on hand, Scotch Guard. Now, I've already done the seams of our tents, so we shouldn't be getting any leaks in our seams. And yeah, Scotch Guard's great just for, in general, keeping things a little bit waterproof if you need to. Keep a can on hand. And last but not least, with the last 2 items here, we have, got to have your sleeping bags. These guys aren't the super duper mummy bags or anything. They're 50-degree rated, which from what I've heard, everything about the the Oregon coast in April, the temperature at night hovers from anywhere from high 40s, mid to high 40s into the 50s. So we've got plenty of blankets, sleeping bags, everything like that to keep everybody warm. We should be absolutely fine in that department. And the last thing is I went out and bought this tent. It's a nice little 6-man. I mean, it's not super expensive or anything, but it'll fit the needs for our trip. It's a 6-man tent that's it's 12 foot wide and 12 foot long and 8 foot wide, and fits up to 6 people. And I can shove 2 air mattresses in this bad boy. There'll be no room to walk, but you can sleep a ton of people. Yeah. So that is just kind of some of the gear that I'm going to be bringing along with me on the trip down the Great American Road Trip, as we're calling it, or the Epic American Road Trip, excuse me. But that's just some of the gear we're going to be taking. We got a lot more stuff also to stow. We've got some more videos that'll be coming along also with a little bit more content. Maybe going into some of the places we'll be staying, things like that. Yeah, can't wait to share more with you guys. I appreciate you watching. Remember to slap the like, remember to subscribe, and this is Pop Pals United, as always, saying I love you and peace out.